Hello. Hello. Good morning, everyone, or wherever you are, whatever time it is. Welcome to this week's Weekly Mini, your bite-sized workshop on the hottest acro topics. Before we get started, first of all, I'm Carolyn, your host. You should know that you can also reference all of the previous topics and more amazing content on acrobatic arts on our YouTube channel. I'll put the direct link in the comments today so you can find that quickly and easily. If you have any questions while we're live, drop them in the comments and we'll do our best to get Sandra to answer them before the end of our presentation. If you know someone who would benefit from hearing about today's topic, be a friend and click the share button on this post right now and let them know we're here. Today, we are so fortunate to have Sandra Elliott, Principal of Acrobatic Arts, presenting on the top 5 tips for exams level 3 to 5. Sandra has been with Acrobatic Arts since its inception. She's an examiner, course conductor, and contributor to many acrobatic arts programs, including Module 1, the Graduate Program, the PIN Program, the Adjudicator Certification for Acro Dance, that's the ACA course, and the assistant teacher's certification, and facilitates examiner training, just to name a few. We are so thrilled and grateful for your time and expertise. Welcome, Sandra.
Thanks so much, Carolyn. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday Weekly Mini. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk today a little bit about teaching tips for levels 3 to 6 exam work. All right. So we're going to start right away. We're going to go into our number 1. This isn't really in any order of importance. They're all super important. But the number 1 thing the first thing I'm going to talk about is proper bridge shape. So achieving the correct bridge shape throughout our exam work and our skills is going to be super, super important. We're going to achieve this through proper flexibility and strength. And that is really essential to achieve success in all bridge skills. Just to go over a little reminder of the technical elements that we're looking for in a really good bridge shape, we want to see that balance curve throughout the whole spine. We want to see that our hips are lifted, the hands are shoulder width apart, elbows straight, fingers spread and engaged. We want to see the feet parallel, hip width apart, creating a rectangle with the hands. So whether the knees are bent and the feet are underneath you, or like that main picture where the legs are straight, we're still going to create this rectangle shape with our feet. Reminding one more time about the hips being lifted nice and high and making sure that the head follows the curve of the spine so that you're able to use it properly throughout all bridge skills. But without that proper flexibility and strength, you're going to end up with a bridge with insufficient shape. So that's going to affect several things in the dancer's ability to perform bridge skills. They are going to lack the ability to stack the required joints to make that bridge shape really nice. And that bridge is going to lack control and balance as well. So if you think about a front limber or a front walkover, that wide bridge or that long bridge that has the insufficient flexibility and strength in the hips and the shoulders, that's going to create the inability to stack those shoulders over the wrists, which is going to force, as the feet come down out of the front walkover or the front limber, it's going to force those feet to land out wide and slam into the ground. Then it's going to cause a real issue for the dancer to be able to recover out of that bridge effectively. They'll need to adjust their feet, rock into the hands, and then stand up. So we want to continue to create that short, tight, compact bridge shape. In skills like bridge and kickover or back walkover, same sort of thing is going to happen. So that inability to stack the shoulders over the bridge, it's going to create that wide bridge, as I mentioned. And then it's going to be super hard for the dancer as they kick to go over to get their hips stacked up over the shoulders, which allows them to step out on the other side. So they're going to really, really struggle to get up to that handstand position. And as you can guess from my description just now, is that this is going to continue to snowball, and that snowball effect is going to affect all of their next progressions. It's going to be difficult for them to achieve those next skills, and it's likely going to cause some injury at some point, whether that's acute or chronic. So I would encourage you to find lots of interesting ways to include stretch and strength drills throughout your classes. And in addition to working on bridges, include those drills and progressions in different games, daily or class, weekly, monthly challenges with your dancers, home practice charts, social posts on your social pages. So you know, here's Susie Q, and look at the comparison of these two pictures, that she's improved her bridge by, you know, adding flexibility to her upper back and to her shoulders, things like that. You can find lots of these ideas and supporting materials in our Acro Dance Resource Center. We also have many previous weekly minis, and I'm sure there's going to be more coming up, so keep your eye out. But some previous ones that you'll want to reference when looking at developing good bridge shape is, Kate did one fantastic one recently about why shoulder and hip flexibility is so important to bridges, so check that one out. And also Sarah did thoracic mobility exercises to increase articulation through the spine. And those are both really good weekly minis to help develop your dancer's ability to create a proficient bridge. We also do have an online workshop that would really benefit bridges, especially on the flexibility side of that. And that's our flexibility and contortion workshop. So if you're interested, you can check that out on our website. So our next one is handstand alignment and strength. So whether we're performing a straight handstand or a curved handstand, the technique that we want to see is the same in both. So we want to see those hands shoulder width apart, fingers spread and engaged again. And we want to see those elbows straight. We want to see them stacked underneath the shoulders, shoulders engaged, pressing up towards the ears. And that's whether we're in a curved or a straight handstand. It's just going to look slightly different when we're in a curved handstand. We want the core engaged so the ribs can be closed, hips nice and square, and we want to see those legs really tight and extended and cleanly together with our feet stretched. I did talk in my previous weekly mini about common corrections in exams for primary through level 3 about the errors, but I'll just quickly go over that now. Arching in the back with the expanded rib cage is common error, so it's really kind of noodly through the center and the spine. Arms too wide. I just want to remind you once again to really pay attention to the width of the hands, because if the hands are really wide in a handstand, it takes a tremendous amount of strength and energy expended to maintain that handstand. So keep those hands nice and tight underneath the dancer's shoulders. Pushing the floor away and not engaging those shoulders, right? We want to make sure that those shoulders are really engaged and helping us to keep that nice tight cord handstand. So again, similar to the bridge, but if those proper handstand alignments and strength is not achieved, we're going to see again that lacking of ability to stack and control the handstand. So if you think of lots of skills like handstand to chest roll, handstand forward roll, cartwheels, front limbers, back walkover, Arabians, round offs, back handsprings, so many, 90% of the skills that we have in our syllabus and in acrobatics depend on a really strong handstand. So you want to make sure that those are really, really strong. Balance skills can also be affected by a weak handstand. Even though we might be balancing in a different position, that work that we do on the core and the alignment and the stacking while we're working on our handstands directly contributes to those balancing skills like chest stand and forearm stands and headstands. So making sure that we have that sort of balance and understanding that skills relate and are intertwined with each other really quite intensely. Lack of overall proficiency will not be able to achieve the next progression, obviously, right? And then again, we're at that higher risk for injury. So keep working on those handstands. Again, finding those interesting ways to include different approaches to developing the strength and the alignment needed in a handstand in your classes is going to be really, really important. So again, referencing that Acro Dance Resource Center, our weekly minis that we've had in the past that can address or help you to address, excuse me, handstands. Our Miss Loren did a teaching of beginner handstands, which is really fantastic, as well as Jill has awesome ideas about handstands for intermediate. So check those two out. So now I'm going to move on to the down to bridge and bridge recover. And I know we've already talked about the bridge shape, but we want to really, really establish a solid bridge recover with our dancers. It is vital for all acro dancers to their success to have a proficient bridge recover. So spend lots of time perfecting it and include skills and progressions and drills that relate to a bridge recover in every class. So we're going to watch a video of a proficient bridge recover. And as we watch, I want you to please pay attention to this dancer's ability to articulate through the spine. She starts by reaching up and over before going into the bridge. And then you'll really see how she moves one vertebra by vertebra down through to her bridge. She has a beautiful bridge shape. So watch for that with that rectangle shape of the feet. It's a tight bridge. She also shows amazing strength and control, not only on the down to bridge portion, but also on the recovery. You'll watch and you'll see that she stretches her legs and engages the core, and she doesn't have any pressure in that lumbar spine as she is recovering. And she also has excellent coordination of the arms, along with the head as she articulates through the spine on the recovery. All right, let's take a look. So that's, excuse me, that's our video on the Acro Dance Resource Center. But so please reference that because it is really an amazing demonstration of everything that we're looking for and what we want our dancers to achieve. So using progressions to change things up in your class so that you're not always just working on bridge recover is going to be important to keep your dancers' interest and focus. So don't be afraid to go back to progressions that are 2 or even more levels below the level that you're currently working at to improve their skills. So, but when you go back and work on those previous progressions, expect higher proficiency from your dancers. So you want to make sure that they're showing amazing strength and flexibility, balance, control, etc. So expect more out of them when you're watching and working on those lower progressions. And if you ever find an error that's happening at a higher level, going back to those lower progressions to correct that error is going to be vital in order to make that happen in a harder skill. Use props to assist your drills and progressions. So props like the wall, walking down the wall and up, stacks of mats, yoga blocks, handprints, acro handcuffs, the metronome, anything that you can think of, scarves to help improve specific techniques that you're working on that day in that class, like maybe parallel feet or straight arms or stacked shoulders. Make sure you include those because it creates interest and it facilitates as well as allows the dancers to have a little bit more fun. I want to also encourage you to watch while you're training bridge recover for any twisting that's happened. Even if it's just a minute amount of twisting, that will start to magnify as you start working on harder progressions. And by the time you get to back handspring, that could really be a dangerous situation. Dynamics through the categories. So while we're examining, especially as we start to progress towards and into those higher levels of exams, we are really wanting to see a difference in the dynamics and the quality of the skills within those different categories. So in balancing, yes, it's static, so there isn't a whole bunch of dynamics happening there, but once we start to connect balancing skills with other balancing skills, or maybe even balancing skills to limbering or tumbling skills, they're going to need strength, control, alignment, spatial awareness to help create those dynamics that we're looking for. I would encourage you while you're working on balancing at all levels to encourage your dancers and work towards pressing into those balances as much as possible. That will happen slowly over time, but keep working on it because that is what's going to really build up their ability to have control, balance, and the ability to transition from balance skill to balance skill without wavering. Always exit balance skills with control and with a slow speed. So slowly and with control, exiting every single balancing skill. Be diligent about expecting extension. So whether that's in the spine in a chest stand, whether that's legs in a headstand and straddle, whether that's their core when you're doing a leg hold, making sure that there's full extension in all the appendages and body parts to really engage the entire body and develop that extension for harder skills. In limbering, we want to see things being shown in a slow and controlled way. Understanding coordination, stacking, and proper weight transference is going to be key to developing these dynamics in addition to proper strength and flexibility. In tumbling, we want to see that explosive power and speed. The expectation in our front walkover and our back walkover in level 6 is the exception to that rule, because we are just introducing those skills for the first time, and we want that technique to be really solid. Okay, but the speed and the power is going to happen in some higher levels, in higher progressions, and we're going to need that as we work towards our front aerials and our back handsprings and our side aerials. So power and speed will develop over time as long as it's supported by strength and proper alignment. So start teaching your skills and your progressions at slower speeds with the correct technique and the correct alignment, and then slowly increase the speed once technique is solidified, and keep working on those drills like blocking drills, etc., to continue to develop the explosive power dynamic that we're looking for. And just to say too, this isn't to mean that all cartwheels are fast or all front limbers are slow. And for example, for purposes for choreography, you might want to change some dynamics up for some interest and some wow effect in your choreography. So it's not to say that these skills are always with these dynamics, but we're progressing them for specific skills, and that's why we're wanting to see them this way in the exams. And lastly, but not least, is our attention to detail and striving for excellence. So the expectation for proficiency as an examiner that we're looking for in the dancers as they progress through the levels is also progressive. So if you consider parallel feet in a bridge, in level 1, we have a lot of tolerance for feet that are not totally parallel, but then we have less tolerance in level 3, and we have even less tolerance for that in level 6. So we want to make sure we're really cleaning up all of the skills and making sure all of those technical expectations are being met. So to reiterate that, in order to hit standard, the technical quality of a skill needs to improve, in addition to the fact that as they go up in level in the exams, the skills themselves are getting harder. So the more particular you are with your expectations from your lower level dancers, the less correcting of those little techniques you'll have when they get up into the higher levels, and they will master skills more easily, they will be less prone to injury, and they will achieve more. As an examiner, and for us as teachers, that AcroDance Resource Center is your best friend. So when it comes to knowing what we're looking for as examiners, that's our first reference. And even as an examiner myself, if there's anything that I want to make sure that I've got updated, if there's any changes, that's where I go as my first resource to make sure I know exactly what's happening in our syllabus. So much about proficiency depends on the proper flexibility and the proper strength for those excellent bridge and handstand techniques. So don't forget as well, because I can never leave without talking about square hip splits, but make sure you're working on those as well. I didn't talk specifically on them today, but they are really, really important, and continue to include those in every class, because they are what's going to support a dancer's ability to keep a square alignment, and again, to avoid twisting in any of those harder skills. So those square splits, they are much better for our dancers than an open split to develop flexibility throughout the entire hip socket. It includes more muscles than an open hip split does. So just keep that on the back burner and working in every class as well. So if all of this is worked on and we're working for that attention to detail and that excellence, then consistency is going to start to happen naturally, which is really going to be important when we get to level 7 and up, because they need to be able to execute those really difficult skills consistently and on the first try in our exams, right? To really achieve to a beautiful high level of proficiency. So keep all of those things in mind. Include those extra ideas about games, etc., in your classes, and hopefully you're able to improve a few things in your dancers from these tips that I talked about today. So thanks so much for spending time with me. I want just to remind you one more time, if you ever have any questions, reach out to us on Facebook, Certified Facebook group, as well as by email. We are always very happy to answer your questions, and we want to offer you whatever support you need throughout your training.
Wow, Sandra, if I had a mic to give you, I'd be like, mic drop, like a block. full of amazing content. And I know for teachers, the one thing that struck me was not only is this relevant for teachers who are teaching exams level 3 to 5, but prefacing that, having that information in advance as their youngster, the students that are going through those earlier primary to 3, have that information looking forward about what's really important, building those fundamentals. So on behalf of all the teachers, thank you so much for that incredible presentation. Not to mention, I know you could probably go on for a very long time, but all of those resources we did put in the comments as you were talking about them. So you can reference those on YouTube. While we chat here for just a second, if you have any questions for Sandra, now's the time to ask. You have the principal of acrobatic arts here to ask, but you can always, like she said, reach out by email or post and we can get back to you because we're always happy to help with your success. That's why we're here. So if there are no other questions, Sandra, I know we've been focusing a lot on exams this month, really focusing on them in our social media and on our newsletters. Is there anything else that teachers should know about moving forward with this exam focus in mind?
Yeah, we do, Carolyn. So we have some really exciting events that are coming up that directly relate to exams. So watch social media and watch our newsletter that's coming out this month for exciting opportunities for you, whether you're a little bit apprehensive, maybe not sure about doing exams for the first time. We've got a great opportunity for those teachers that are thinking about that. And then we also have another fantastic opportunity for teachers that have done exams and are planning to request dates and have another exam set here in 2022. So keep your eyes open for those exciting opportunities that are coming up.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm excited for all of these teachers with these resources available to them. They're going to continue to make their dancers strong, capable, and successful. Sandra, thank you so much for being here. There are no further questions, so we will jump off, but thank you for your time, for creating that incredible presentation and all of that value. Teachers, thank you for joining us for this weekly mini. Join us next week where we'll be talking to Megan Wigg of Aerial Arts about hoop hanging fundamentals and more. You can learn more about acrobatic arts and our programs at acrobaticarts.com. Join us again next week. Thanks, Sandra. See you again then. Bye, everyone.